deck. I'm excited.
Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Chicago. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Brian David Marshall, and we've got Adam Johnson versus Willie Adel. Willie hanging on to that top 25 pro ranking slot at 24, and he is playing a deck we have dubbed Rock Stars because it is. Ooh, that's nice.
That's a mana bloom.
Don't see that too often.
Not a card on my list of cards I expected to see today.
No.
Although I guess Jake was talking about this deck a little bit. It's a deck that's done well online. If you've seen it doing well online or winning a premier event, it's been Willie playing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, apparently it doesn't. You know, no one else has had much luck with it. This is really a deck he's for. So we see Forest and then
a Nykthos.
A Nykthos. So what is Adam Johnson playing?
Green Devotion. What is this?
Adam Johnson is playing mono green Devotion, splashing black.
Yeah, look at that. That's a Voyaging Satyr there.
So he's got Mystics, Burning Tree Emissaries, Voyaging Satyrs, Sylvan Caryatids, Coursers of Kruphix, Eidolon of Blossoms on his side of the table, too, times 4.
All right, so
Polukranos, Nylea, oh boy.
So Willie uses his Mana Bloom there to power out a turn 2, and pretty nice here on turn 2 as well.
Oh, this is turn 3.
Excuse me, turn 3, Courser of Kruphix. He gets to play an extra land, though, of course.
There's Eidolon of Blossoms for Adam Johnson. Okay, I think we're gonna see a lot of Magic get played here.
All right, so Mana Bloom pops back into Willie Adel's hand. It's going to reveal an extra land on top of his library. Willie's going to get to play Overgrown Tomb here, gain a life. He's not going to pay the 2 life, so he's just going to net a life on the deal and reveal Brain Maggot on top of his library. What's his follow-up play here?
I feel like we're going to see another Mana Bloom.
You're right. Mana Bloom for 1. It is an X-Spell. He could do it for another, but he's not going to. And he's just going to pass the turn back, as he'd rather keep up his Courser for blocks.
Now, I've played Mono Green Devotion in Modern, but, you know, I'm powered with Nykthos and Garruk and all those, you know, I'm powering out Genesis Waves.
Oh, for copious amounts.
Yeah. Genesis Wave into Genesis Wave, you know.
Oh, I do know.
But, you know, so this is more of a traditional value deck here, right? Like, he's
Which
just
one?
the standard
Johnson's
version.
I guess. I mean, it looks pretty explosive here. That counter
that represents how much green mana is in his mana pool.
Is his mana. He's got 5. He's going to use 2 to play Caryatid. Untap. Redo Nykthos again. Retap it again. And Willie's making sure that the math is correct here.
So my first Nykthos was for 4.
Yeah. So you play this. So you have 2. Now you one tap this and use. You have 0.
So they're just backtracking a little bit here.
It seems like it would be hard to have it be only 2 mana floating, though. I mean, it just made 5.
Yeah, it had 5.
All right, so they're just going to run it back here because they have to make sure they get
just
this right.
rewind.
Have 4 mana, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
So
I
there's
think the issue is that he had 4 mana from the Nykthos.
Yes,
and
goes
not
down to 2. Now he can untap this, use up the 2 mana, and then make 5. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Right?
Yep. Oh my.
Yeah, it was 5. Okay, good.
Yeah, and that's 2 cards off of
Wow.
Eidolon of Blossoms.
So just going off, he's going to use his last mana to play an Elvish Mystic and ship the turn back.
Disgusting.
So what's the big finish here for Adam
That's
Johnson?
what I'm asking you.
Does he just flood the board with creatures, or does he
just
have like a huge punch at the end?
So he has Polukranos. He's got Nylea, God of the Hunt. He has the Tessin Tactics.
He's got Nylea?
Yeah.
Well, that's his big finish.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah.
All right, here's Brain Maggot. Let's see what you drew, Adam Johnson, with all those draws. Double Nylea
Burning Tree Emissary, is that...
and a Tactics.
Oh, that's the Tactics, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that prompts a scoop from Willie Adel? Wow. Willie was at 23 life. Did that just happen?
I guess his board was just about to get
Yeah.
tactic away.
Well, yeah, but I mean, more importantly, Nylea comes down, and he gets to use his Voyaging Satyr to make double mana, and he was making, what, 8
Right.
per activation?
Yep.
So it's like 16?
Yep. And so he's just like +2/+2 trample to this, to this, to this.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that to 4 different creatures for +8 damage.
Wow. What a beating. I mean, Willie Adel's at 23 with the Corsair Crewfix in play and just played a spell, and he's like, we're done here.
I came for the Rockstar, but I'm staying for the. I'm drinking the green Kool-Aid.
Oh, man. Let's take a quick look at our other feature match. We've got Carl Johnson.
He's our king of the hill. He's playing the mono black aggro deck.
And this is George Balrog, though I'm really tempted to call him Balrog.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's
I mean, how do you not get that
probably the
nickname?
first time he's ever heard it. Right?
I mean, I know he's not, but God, it's like too hard not to.
George is up a game. George, by the way, is he's playing just the blackest of mono black decks.
How many?
21 swamps.
21 swamps. So he
21
is not
swamps.
fussing around.
That's all
at
you need to know
all.
about this deck,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. That's it.
There you get a look at our main attraction. Willie Adel, the Brazilian superstar, Hall of Fame hopeful. On the left, there's his
There's Willie.
Platinum Pro, 4 Pro Tour top 8, 6 Grand Prix top 8s.
Guy's a producer. 52 points in 2012, 2013. 38 this year.
Yeah. And Platinum, he's been traveling more this year,
Mhm.
right? It's so like when you talk to the Brazilian players, it's difficult
It's hard.
to get basically anywhere from Brazil.
It is. It's
And
costly.
he's been making more trips. And now at Platinum, this is the first time he's been Platinum in probably a while. I don't, it probably wasn't called Platinum the last time.
He was level 8 or whatever.
Yeah, some numbered level. He's going to be able to, again, he knows he's got $12,000 in Pro Tour fee, appearance fees coming in. He knows he's got Grand Prix appearance fees. He's got airfare paid for his Pro Tours.
His game is sharp. He's been playing a lot. He's been traveling a lot. He's
been
up
building
onto
decks.
it. Yes. That is one cool thing about Willie as well, is that he usually will bring his own deck to a tournament. Now, he's not the kind of crazy brewer that will go way off the path where you're like, what are these, like where you have to pick up every card they play. But he will come up with some really interesting mixes of things that other people don't see.
Yeah, and
this deck might be one of them.
He's been at the forefront of a lot of like the modern Juns in Modern.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, the post-Deathrite Shaman Jund. He's been a big pusher, big push on the Naya deck for a little while in that format.
Mhm.
But, he's out there really actively, competing in formats and thinking about decks. And, really also kind of one of the big Magic Online players that,
He is.
gets a little bit lost in his narrative.
Yes, that is true. And again, that's another necessity in some ways, right? Like he can't just, go off to major tournaments every weekend or whatever. He's got to be picky. And when he's at home, if he wants to play against, really good competition, he's got to do it on Magic Online.
I'm pretty excited about this mono green deck now.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Adam Johnson may just not. What? This isn't Cabrini green.
No, this is
Cabrini green
much
is
bigger than that.
We have there was a deck that won one of the Grand Prix trials. It was a mono green like aggro deck with like Setessan, with Brush Strider.
With Brush Strider.
And Swordwise Centaur.
Colonian Tusker.
Tusker, all the little, and then like Aspect of Hydra, Setessan Tactics as well. And, in honor of Chicago, we've been calling it Cabrini green.
Mm-hmm. But this is not that deck.
This is not that deck, no.
This deck goes much bigger and much more over the top than that.
I mean, this is Green Devotion. This is Green Devotion. This is the Devotion deck we always wanted to see from the first moment that Nykthos Shrine to Nyx was spoiled.
Yep.
Right? Because so many of the Devotion decks, you feel like they're just hedging a little.
Oh, yes.
You know, they're like, oh, it's a devotion deck. I have like Grey Merchant of Asphodel in it. It's
Right.
like, no, that's not a devotion deck.
Yeah, because this deck can make huge amounts of mana.
All right.
The problem is it doesn't have the best places to put it. Like, Nylea's fine.
I mean,
But
Contested
it's not the
Tactics
same
is
thing
not
as-
terrible either.
Mhm.
Like, in fact, I almost wonder if more of the, you know, those cards, the Strive cards from the new set, don't have a place in a deck like this.
Interesting.
It's a great mana sink.
Tactics is very efficient, too, when it comes to Strive. It's cheap. All right, Adam Johnson starts with Temple of Malady, and here's Brain Maggot from Willie Adel on turn 2 to get a look at what's going on in Adam's hand. He's got Courser. He's got actually double Courser, Pelucranos, a bunch of lands, and an Eidolon of Blossoms.
And interestingly, Willie had a Thoughtseize in his hand as well, I think, but chose to Brain Maggot first.
I mean, Brain Maggot seems pretty ridiculous against Adam. I mean, is Tactics the only way that Adam can, like, actually kill a creature? I mean, he's just looking to sort of goldfish on his own side, right,
Yeah,
and
it's
sort of
not-
build out his board and overwhelm.
No. I mean,
Does
he can
Adam have
Pelucranos.
Arbor Colossus in the main?
No, he has one in the sideboard,
Okay.
two in the sideboard.
Okay. It looks like Willie might take away Eidolon of Blossoms. He does indeed. Leaves Adam with the double Courser Crucifix. Ooh, Nykthos off the top for Adam. That was pretty nice because
Yeah.
he didn't have one in his hand before then. So
So he's going to be able to Courser next turn.
and start trying to power through a little bit, keep hitting those land drops, and start making a bunch of mana. I mean, it's not clear where Adam goes exactly, but Willie Adel's not really putting any pressure on at the
Yeah,
moment.
it looks like Willie had a very maggoty hand.
He does. A rotten hand.
Yeah.
So Adam immediately points to the Nykthos like, this is the one that I drew. Everything else is the same. Pelucranos, double Courser, and a couple of forests here. So,
Yeah, he's like, oh, I guess that's a removal.
yeah, it looks like Willie's.
Oh, but no third land for Willie.
No. Gosh, was that a Voyaging Satyr off the top for Adam?
No.
Yeah. No, it
Oh,
wasn't.
yes.
All right.
It might have been, but he's got
It's
Burning
close
Oh, no, it's
enough.
Burning Tree.
It was Burning Tree
Yeah,
Emissary, but that's going to do a lot of work for him as it allows him to develop his board out a bit here. And remember, I mean, right now, Burning Tree Emissary can attack. Like, it's totally fine as an attacker as well. But also, he does have that Nykthos in his hand, and that's going to charge up the Nykthos nicely here.
There's a
And-
Caryatid.
All right, so land and Caryatid here for Willie Adel.
It's always awkward when you're trying to climb out of that kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
land-starved hand, and then you draw your, like, ramp creature.
I know.
And you're like, oh, okay, I'll play it. I
Like,
have to wait a turn.
It's hard to complain, but
I can
it's
never
not
block.
happy.
I can't, you
Mhm.
know. All right, still no Nykthos.
He's got a Nykthos.
No, I'm saying he's not playing it. There's a
Oh.
forest on top, wouldn't he?
I don't think that is a forest.
Oh, no, it's a Golgari Charm. You're right.
There you go. All right, so there's Nykthos. And there's a second Courser of Crucifix.
Little
And
high
here's an attack.
Yep.
18.
So Caryatid is going to jump in front of one of the 2-power creatures. Does a good job of that, turns out. Is that another maggot in Willie's hand?
I think he has a third maggot and a Thoughtseize.
Goodness. Now, unfortunately for Willie, Adam has already, put out a pretty nice board state here. But Willie is
Oh,
going
he
to
drew a Garruk.
Thoughtseize, and wow, it was big Garruk.
Garrett Caller of Beasts.
Interesting.
And Willie, I think, had Eidolon of Blossoms in hand, but chose to. He's like, I really want to pick your hand apart a little bit here.
Yeah, I think he knew he had it.
Yeah. Although I guess that
Man, Garrick's a big deal, though.
that
Garrick-
Golgari charm is gonna make things disgusting.
Oh, wow. Using the -1/-1 ability.
Yeah. I think that was the sort of shrug from Willie,
Yeah,
like, I'll thought seize you, but I would like to take the card off the top of your deck.
right. No, I think you're totally right, BDM. That was exactly what that was. And here's Eidolon of Blossoms
Yeah.
drawing a card for Adam and threatening to take over this game in short order as he just drew
This
another
game
Eidolon of
is-
Blossoms. So, you know, Garrick would have been a fantastic card draw engine for Adam, but it looks like he might not need it here as Willie is way up against it.
I'm probably going to be playing this deck on Magic Online tonight.
I'll help.
Well,
watch.
we're using your computer. I
Yeah.
only brought my iPad.
And I'll get my calculator out too so we can get the mana.
So two different takes on Green-Black Constellation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Adam only has the tiniest bit of black, but we saw the power of it there with the
Yeah.
Golgari charm. So here's an
Eidolon
Eidolon
of
of Blossoms for Willie. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. It's got to get something going here.
Still no fourth land, though.
No land, though. So brutal. Adam Johnson's just going to start running away with this thing, and there's Nylea off on the top of his library, too. So, yeah, this is going to get completely out of hand here shortly, especially
Yeah.
if he can hit
Well,
an
he makes
untapped
8
land.
mana off of his Nykthos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8 mana. So he's got 8 green mana. There's half of it gone. There's 4.
Draw 2 cards.
Yes, draw 2, and he can just play.
Oh, there's a Vraska the Unseen out of the sideboard.
Doesn't do a ton here. Takes out the Eidolon, but. And another Eidolon of Blossoms on top of his library, too. My goodness. I don't know if we're going to get much more game here. He's going to use his other 4 mana to play Nylea, which is going to draw him 2 cards. Goodness sakes.
Right.
This is getting
Yeah,
disgusting.
can you imagine if he'd drawn like a second Nykthos here?
Oh, yeah. Just completely go off. I mean, not that he hasn't already. He's already successfully spent 8 mana this turn. He still has 2 to spare. He's going to gain a couple more life
Sees
back
a Garrick
as well.
on top.
And there's Garrick on top. It is just all bad news for Willie Adel here. And oh, by the way, attack you too.
I have you going to 10. What do you thought too scared, maybe?
Oh yeah, I had 16. Yeah.
He's got a million cards in hand.
Is he going to actually use his Golgari charm to finish off? No, that's not going to kill anything.
Past you.
He uses it just to kill the Eidolon of Blossoms after Willie decides not to block. Remember, it can destroy an enchantment, which Eidolon of Blossoms is. And that's going to do
Wow.
it. Willie just has to extend the hand. Adam Johnson completely running over Hall of Fame hopeful Willie Adel there. Just spewing green permanents left and right onto the battlefield and overwhelming Willie, who was also stumbled on mana. All right, back to the King of the Hill match here.
Tell you what, I
Carl Johnson, currently our King of the Hill versus George
The horse was good though.
Balog. And George looks like he's got a couple of tokens.
Those look like rats.
They do. A couple of pack rat tokens there up against a Desecration Demon, but very importantly, no actual pack rat there. Actually, that's not important at all. This looks like as long as George can keep a card in his hand, he can keep the Desecration Demon at bay and keep beating down with the rats, which, you know, 4 power makes pretty short work of one's life total.
Customized lands on one side of the table there. Ah, there we go. So Demon comes in. Pack Rat says, like, I don't care, you can attack me.
George sitting on 5, but Carl's at 12. George has plenty of demon food sitting on the table, even if this attack step were to go awry.
Go to combat.
But
Not sack.
he's also going to be attacking for lethal if he wants to.
Sure. Right.
Right,
know, you
there's
got
the
it.
lethal attack.
Either way,
And
I think you had
Carl
it,
Johnson
though.
extends
I
the
would
hand. We have a new King of the
I have
Hill.
lands in hand, so
George
I don't think
Balog
we
is
would
King of the
prevail. I
Hill.
think I
All right.
get at that point.
So
'cause I
Carl
couldn't- that
Johnson
was
took
just
the
a
title
fun
from
part.
Brad Nelson, and Balog has taken the title in turn from Carl Johnson.
It's a hotly contested place to be,
Yeah,
the King of the Hill. You know, everybody wants to